Radio here this week and back from Deutschland. I appreciate all of the love and goodwill out on our Facebook and Twitter and social media, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. We did it all from over in Germany last week, but we're back on point, and I certainly got back in time to see the Orioles pick themselves up from empty stadiums and sort of half-baked homestands in different ways, but picking themselves up in Ubaldo Jimenez with a complete game. We welcome Alan McCallum, our Oriole historian and longtime Oriole insider, back onto the program. Alan, Ubaldo Jimenez, ready, go.
We've been talking about this for a couple of years now. I mean, Ubaldo is a guy who has good half seasons. Sometimes he doesn't get the full half season because he's put himself in the doghouse so deeply, but since he's come into the rotation for Chris Tillman going on the DL, he's been pretty good. I mean, last time we talked about the peril of the Orioles and pitching going against the Blue Jays, and they had 3 quality starts during that series and lost 2 of them because they couldn't hit. But Ubaldo was magnificent on Sunday. I don't know how else to say it. And he's on that run right now where he's doing what we've seen him do. It's how he got the contract in the first place with the Orioles as one of the best pitchers in baseball in that second half of the 2013 season in Cleveland. So, here we are. And if he can continue to do it, that certainly is a boon for the prospects of the Orioles getting to the postseason. If they can get Tillman back and have Ubaldo continue to pitch that way, then you're talking about Tillman, hopefully healthy, Ubaldo, Gausman, and Bundy theoretically giving you a chance to win. That's 4 out of 5 places in the rotation, and I'll take that. I don't know who wouldn't. Right now, they're still in the playoffs. If it ended today, and as long as he pitches like this, they'll give him a chance. But I mean, he was clearly dominant. He's not the hard thrower he once was when he was in Colorado, but his stuff moves so much. And late life, he's throwing 90, 91. It looks like it's 93, 94 because it disappears at the end. And you can see when he's on, guys can't hit him. It's so frustrating to watch some of the Orioles play, whether it's Ubaldo, and watch him on a run like this and think, how can he be so messed up all the time? Or Chris Davis on Sunday hitting an opposite field home run. He's got so much power. He's got so much ability to hit the ball to all fields. And you just wonder, how does he get himself so caught up in this pull-happy strikeout land when he doesn't need to pull the ball? All he needs to do is hit the ball the other way, and it's gonna fly. It's gonna move. So it can be frustrating watching this team sometime, but there is a ton of talent. Ubaldo certainly has it. He doesn't harness it enough. But certainly thankful as an Orioles fan, I remember the team for him to be on this run right now.
Well, I mean, obviously they're in a precarious situation right now and would have preferred for them to play better against the Blue Jays last week and every time they get together. But, once again, here we are a week later and the Blue Jays aren't running away and the Red Sox aren't running away. And it feels like Detroit, certainly Cleveland felt like they didn't lose for a week as well. I was monitoring all this stuff from over Germany where the games start at 1 o'clock in the morning for the most part, and I was sort of waking up to Springsteen concert reviews and Oriole, losses and conquests and empty stadiums. And, and then it was a big story about how empty the stadium was last week. It was empty before I left. I did some radio in Philadelphia and up in Canada where people were calling me and saying, what's up with the empty stadium down there? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Have you been paying attention? Washington has a team, and the owner's been a jerk here for a long time. And, all the other little Baltimore things we know about them not sending tickets out. But the team's still very much in this thing. There are other teams now, whether it's Houston, Detroit, that's this week. I still wouldn't write Seattle and Kansas City off, that are sort of coming to get the Orioles. Alan, what do you like about the Orioles right now? What wakes you up now after Labor Day, with 3 weeks left in the season, where you say, yeah, they're going to make the playoffs. Not only that, they might win the division.
That's a great question. Well, the first thing is that they have, arguably 3 MVP candidates. You can start with Zach Britton, who, quite frankly, is I think their best starter, being wasted in the closer's role, but but certainly as a closer is the best there is out there right now. Hasn't blown a game or a save rather all season, and is virtually unhittable. And essentially, if you get through 8 innings and the Orioles are in the lead, they're going to win. He's got 40 saves. They have in the mid 70s in wins. So I mean, you think about the percentage of games that he's locked down for them, and certainly when O'Day and Brock are healthy and right, I mean that's one of the best back ends in the game. So.
And we haven't experienced that lately, but and really in the middle it got choppy with O'Day. I mean, the loss of O'Day, just the fact that they have to adjust to that, not to mention Tillman. I mean, this is, if Buck wins the division with it, I mean, this is a hell of a job that they're still in this thing for me.
If they get into the postseason, regardless of how it is, whether it's winning the division or going in as a wild card, Buck should be manager of the year in the American League. That's my personal opinion. I mean, you look at the kind of starting pitching they've had, and the kind of consistent prognostications that are given about the Orioles, and you look at they are either last or next to last, not in runners hitting with runners in scoring position, but having runners in scoring position. Now that's some symptom of several things. Obviously, they hit home runs. So I mean, when they get guys on, when they get hits, they're walking around the bases, but they don't walk much. They don't have great at bats. We say this a lot. So I mean, they suffer from having guys not in scoring position, and when they are in scoring position, they don't get them in. But this team continues to win. So I mean, Buck is certainly part of that, and how he has captained this ship. We could talk about Mark Trumbo for as much as he dropped off in the second half. He's got 41 home runs. He's fifth, I think, in RBIs in the American League. Certainly helped carry the team through the first half when they weren't getting everything they could get from Adam Jones or Chris Davis. And
by the way, you better give Duquette a little bit of credit because you're one of the critics of Duquette. The Trumbo thing's on him, right? I mean, that had nothing to do with Peter. May had a little bit to do with Buck and Chris Davis, but Trumbo's going to go out and hit 45 home runs. You got to give Duquette some of the credit, right?
Sure, Pedro Alvarez too. I mean, for whatever Pedro Alvarez didn't do in the first half, mostly adjusting to the American League and not getting consistent playing time. I mean, when he's hit the ball, he's been money in the second half. So I give Duquette all the credit in the world for that. No question. There were certainly other things we could talk about, and we have, but no question, he's filled out the roster in 2016 the way he hasn't in 13. He didn't in 13, and he didn't in 15. So, and he didn't give up much to get them in the grand scheme of things. So all credit goes to him. And then you can certainly look at Manny Machado, who's slowed down a bit here, but had a nice August, and certainly has been their most consistent player throughout the season. So I mean, those three guys, Britton, Trumbo, and Machado, you can certainly look at for what they've done. They are the best defensive infield in baseball, period, full stop. If Chris Davis doesn't win a Gold Glove at first base, there ought to be an investigation. That's my personal opinion. Machado, Scope is fantastic at second base. I don't think JJ will win the Gold Glove this year because he missed a significant amount of time, but they're just the best infield there is in the game, and that makes up for a lot of what their pitchers don't do, and it also hopefully allows the pitchers to feel comfortable. They can have guys hit the ball on the ground that's going to get caught.
And by the way, relatively healthy. Other than the Hardy hiccup, which you kind of can pencil that in. I mean, when he misses 15 or 20 games, you feel like it's a good year for him, right? So, I mean, literally, I'm not being a jerk. I'm just saying at this point in his career where he is, I mean, Adam Jones has missed a significant amount of time this year. O'Day. I mean, we remember what it was when Markakis got hurt, at a critical time a couple of years ago. Losing your key guys at any point in the season and sort of still coming out the other end and saying, hey, we're a couple games back. It's Labor Day. I don't. I can tell you a lot of things I don't like about the Orioles right now, but there are some things to like in that there are 3 weeks left in the season. If they start to mash right now and they can get 9 innings out of Ubaldo Jimenez, that would really change things, right?
And they're missing their best starter and their second most important reliever right now. And they continue to hold on to a wild card spot. So, look, part of this is that, as you said, I mean, the Blue Jays aren't running away, neither are the Red Sox. The Tigers are the hottest team, and they haven't taken hold. And it's because there are no great teams right now. So, I mean, there's part of that. But the Orioles are certainly in the mix for this thing, and are doing what they need to do despite some struggles to hang on. So, it's sort of foolish to say at this point, the next series is really big because the Tigers are coming, but because you look at their schedule for the rest of the year, I mean, they just finished the Blue Jays, they just finished the Yankees, One is ahead, one's breathing up their tailpipe to get them. The Tigers are running neck and neck with them. I mean, every series, pretty much the rest of the way, is life or death. They're fighting in the playoffs basically right now to get to the playoffs. And the Orioles have been here before. They've done this.
And Jimenez has pitched in the biggest games that you can imagine, right? I mean, as a very young man. So I don't think he goes out there and wets himself. I just think there's afternoons where he can't throw a strike. I mean, and his body flies open, then his mind flies open, and he hasn't been very good at handling that, which is why he stinks most of the time, quite frankly.
I mean, I don't think for Ubaldo it's about nerves at all. It just seems to me to be about mechanics and concentration and the focus. And I don't know what that's about. You would have
that's
to talk
confidence,
to him.
and I mean, it's all of that.
Sure.
It's all that stuff that a guy like him, who has all the skills in the world, and there's Greg Maddux that just goes out there and knows where the ball's going, right?
You know what? You talk about Greg Maddux, but for me, the reference is Mike Messina, a guy who, I mean, a lot of people would tell you probably didn't have the best stuff ever. He had really good stuff, but not the best stuff. But he could execute every pitch with purpose and focus and confidence, and knew what was going to happen in the game largely, and that's the kind of thing that puts you in the Hall of Fame. And most pitchers don't have that. Some guys have it for a little while and have to reinvent themselves.
It's like life; they're moment to moment. There is no grand plan. There's no strategy. There's no thinking it through. It's okay. I mean, let's try curveball here. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
But Ubaldo, I mean, it really is. It's bizarre to watch him from one part of the season to another, where it's clear he just has no idea what's going on out there. And another part of the season, or on Sunday, I mean, he's just commanding the strike zone. And
you're like looking forward to him pitching the next time like that,
Right. You're sort of watching Wade Miley struggle through this thing right now. And, I mean, you can watch him against the Blue Jays, and clearly he's got major league stuff. But the next time he comes out, he's got no idea where the ball's going. He gets himself in trouble. So, I mean, if everybody could do it, they wouldn't make as much money, and there'd be a lot more of us playing the game. But it certainly isn't easy. But you do expect a higher caliber of excellence and concentration from major league players, major league pitchers, and the Orioles' rotation struggles with that sometimes.
He is Alan McCallum. He's been our longtime friend and Oriole historian and insider and activist, amongst other things, and much like me, banned from Oriole baseball and all things media, because after 20 years, I mean, why the hell would either one of us be a real media member? Which brings me to the Tom Lavero story that I'm sure you saw, and other local schmucks and fans, with reasoning for the stadium last week. Alan, give full disclosure here. I mean, you were a media member. You used to go and get a free hot dog once in a while and stand around Mike Hargrove or Johnny Oates or Davey Johnson or Phil Regan or Ray Miller or Tremblay or Perlazzo. I'm sure I'm missing a few here somewhere. But either way, what's that?
There were many.
Yeah, I'm sure I lost somebody in there. But you also bought tickets. I mean, you and your sister were going to games for years. You had season tickets up in, was it 356, wherever it was?
352.
52. I used to visit you in the seats. The sort of third base, but near home plate, sort of off the on-deck circle, little shaded to third base. Up in the upper deck, I'd see you up there in your ball cap. When you weren't in the press box, you went and bought peanuts on the outside, wore your Oriole jacket, your hat, and all that stuff. You don't go to the game so much anymore. You don't invite me to go. Dirty rat. And we haven't been to a game together in a long, long time. I don't go to the games. You don't go to the games. I know some people that do go to the games. I see them on my Facebook threads. I know many people that still follow the team like I do, like you do, and watch on TV. But there used to be some civic pride associated with this, where like the fans felt like they owned the team. Brady Anderson made it really clear to me when he was a complete jerk and a jackass in telling me that, with my wife next to me, that we should just leave the city. I should just leave Baltimore because, I'm not a real Oriole fan. I found much of this to be offensive in the arrogance. You and I have dealt with the stove at a much different distance than many of the other fans who don't go or do go, or who feel put off by how much the beer costs, paying more on the day of the game, paying more to see the Yankees, all of those things that factor into what else I can do with my money, how much I like the Orioles, what a good fan or a bad fan I am. But it is a little startling that their notion always was, well, we'll win one day and you'll all come back. Well, the excuse now isn't like the team sucks because they don't, or I don't like Buck Showalter, or I don't know who the players are, or Manny Machado or Adam Jones are bad guys or not good Orioles or whatever. But it was a little alarming last week for a lot of other people who called me and said, will you come on my radio show in Toronto, in Ottawa, in Philadelphia, and explain to me how the stadium could be so empty? And, I brought this up with Marty Conway earlier. And Alan, if you have just 1 minute, I'm going to ramble through this because I wrote this
Sure, go ahead.
on a plane coming back from Frankfurt, Germany. I had a 9-hour flight. I wrote a lot about my wife and about Niels, who saved her life, and we're doing a big event November 12th. So, I wrote about different things because I'm on a plane. These are the 10 things that I threw out. I'll throw them to you, and you throw back and say whatever you want to say. So these are my 10 thoughts, and I'm going to expound upon this. You can read it out at WNST.net in a longer format. It's a 2-part blog I wrote. Number one, Washington has a baseball team, right? Yep. So, let's just start with the fact that people who used to come don't come, and we know why they don't come. Number two is people who do have other things to do besides baseball. There's now a football team, there's lacrosse, there's this, there's that. People have kids, all of that. It ain't cheap. That's number three, and that's, we could talk about the elimination of discount nights, beer prices, parking, in addition to the riots and, riots, bad weather, and school nights were the three excuses that I heard the first 4 months, right? So I'm eliminating those three: riots, kids are in school, and it's too hot or too cold or it's raining, okay? So I'm eliminating it. And we can eliminate that the team sucks, right? Because the team doesn't suck. So those are 4 things we're eliminating. So the brand is stale. I think Masson does an incredibly horrible job of promoting baseball, of getting people who might watch the game excited about coming to the ballpark. Number 5 is arrogance. And, dude, that's a book on the things that they've done and the things that the owner has done to make people like you and me, which brings us to number 6, makes us feel bad. People like free stuff. That's point number 6, which is when they give stuff away, people come out. They have developed an incredible cheapskate collector, I'm only going to go when they give me something sort of mentality for a large group of people who will show up on a 105-degree day and line up to get a Jim Palmer shirt that I was unwilling, that I thought buying a ticket and getting there half an hour early would get me a shirt, but I was a fool to think that. But the free thing, there is a factor in that. Number 7 is just marketing in general and having people like Greg Bader be a part of their think tank, and wicker hats and girl and boy bobbleheads and whatever they do to market that would make a person activate and come to the game. Number 8 is the We Are Family thing. I'm not part of their family. They hate my guts. They've treated me like garbage for 2 decades. Anyone in my wake who loves my wife, they've treated her like garbage. They've treated you like garbage. You and I have joked about the color of our skin. I'd love to say they don't like me because I'm Venezuelan and they don't like you because you're black. But we know why they don't like us, because we try to get to the truth, which is, Baltimore on the road jersey, all the stuff that we've railed about here for 2 decades. There is no more, I'm going to the game because it says Baltimore and I feel like I'm a Baltimore guy, because they're not really Baltimore people. There is no hometown team factor with them. There's a corporate mentality that Mr. Angelos has used for 2 decades that has taken thinking people like me away and saying, oh, I'm giving money to the king, what's in it for me? And the last one would be the basic human relations and the courtesy of, the way they've treated people. So just in general, the way that they really haven't cared that the city's empty. And I'll leave it to you. So those are the 10 things I went through, because bad weather, kids in school, riots, and, the late season tickets, those were the throwaway factor. So I'll leave it to you now, Alan. The stadium was empty last week. Go.
Well, first of all, let me just say for myself, I have not gone as much as I have with the last couple of years. Some of that's just personal stuff life stuff that's gotten in the way and hasn't allowed
And
me to
everybody
do
has that too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that was number two. I have other stuff going on, right? I mean, like literally, whatever that other stuff is.
Just for some important stuff that has taken me away from it a little bit, but certainly aware of it all the time. I'm always going to be an Orioles fan. I mean, for me, it is a civic pride. I have issues with things that Angelos has done because, as I've said to you, while I don't feel as strongly as you do, I do think that he has not been the best manager of a civic institution.
My conclusion on all of this is I can't think of anything other than the guy running North Korea or the guy trying to run for president here that could have been worse for business. I mean, I don't know that anyone could have done a more poor job of being a human being through all of this. There is no human being. He doesn't talk to anyone. So there's nothing to like or dislike, I guess, anymore, right?
Right. I mean, that is well documented and long-standing. Look, I will say this: whatever all those things are, in 2012 and 2014, and 2015 for that matter, the team drew, despite all of this truth. So I mean, it's never going to be what it was when Camden Yards opened, because, as you said, and we've argued about this on the Masson side. I mean, Masson and the Nationals have the biggest and most financially solvent element of the once Orioles fan base in Washington.
Yeah, the only thing that matters to Peter is making sure he keeps that Masson money, because that's way more important than drawing another 4,000 people on a Tuesday night in September.
Well, because what the part that he had when he bought the team is gone. I mean, that's just in terms of being a good businessman. There's something to be said for that. Now, there are certainly things you can do to bring your own hometown people out. I mean, there's certainly truth in that. But that part is gone. So,
but engaging the community is something they really haven't reached to do, other than our team's good. Show up and pay a little more,
That's true. I mean, that's part of it. Look, I'm not sure of all the factors from last week. I am totally on board with people have short memories. In April and May, the weather in this town was awful. I mean, it was cold and wet all the time, so would have been a drag to go. And in the summer, I mean, yeah, it was hot. It's Maryland, surprise.
But now they're good, so you should want to go.
But
because you didn't go in April and May. Nobody went, right?
Right, but in September, I mean, the weather's been good. The team's in the race. They're looking to be supported. So, I mean, I don't know all the factors.
And they've been a very good home team, too. They win a lot at home.
I know this, and you didn't include this. I mean, in terms of it being expensive, I mean, that is absolutely true. And more to the point, every day they're creating some new technology for television and cable, so that you can sit home in front of a 50-inch screen TV with the highest def, like it looks like the people are literally about to walk out of the screen.
Yeah, I would have had no problem at 1 o'clock in the morning with the Wi-Fi in my room in Bochum, Germany, sitting down and watching the Orioles play on my laptop if I had been awake, right? There's no access issue to the games. I mean, the games are everywhere you want them to be, kind of, sort of, right?
I can literally be at work listening to the game and recording the game at home, knowing I'm going to go back and watch it. And everything of significance that happens is going to be on my MLB app within, I don't know, 90 seconds to 2 minutes.
Not to mention what me and Luke and everybody else in the world think about it as it's happening.
Right. So, I mean, all of those things are present for me so that I can. It allows me to do other things in my life and multitask. And that's sort of the nature of the universe, at least in the Western world as we live right now. Everybody has kids. And look, when I have gone to the games, it's $20 to $30 for tickets, $20 to park, and that's in one of the cheaper garages. So, I mean, I can imagine a family of four or five people. I mean, Dad
drops $250 on a Tuesday night or a Friday night and says, was it worth $250? Next time we'll do something else, right?
Right. I mean, well, we can cook at home and watch the game there, and I can buy the kid an iPad or a PlayStation 4 with that same $300 and make more maximum effort for my money. Now, the Ravens in the NFL, in theory, shouldn't have that problem because PSL sort of lock you into something. So if you want to go, you don't have a choice. When you have an 81-game season, that's not a thing that's, I think, really lucratively possible. So I don't know. There are a million things. And I remember this vividly during the strike in '94 when baseball went on strike. for me, I mean, I was immersed. This was even before I started working with you. I mean, it's a couple of years before I started working with you, and I was so immersed in it, I didn't know what I was going to do. And within 3 weeks, I'd found other things to do. They're just, sometimes you absorb other things in your life.
Oh, I don't have to go up there at 3:30 in the afternoon and have athletes scowl at me all afternoon and make it difficult for me to be a fan, and then get treated like garbage by every executive I run into at every point throughout. That I want to subject myself to that over the last 11 years. I'm out saving lives with a bone marrow rat. I got other things to do. You know what I mean? They've told me they don't want me there, so I don't go and give them money. I mean, look, it's as simple as, and I'm happy to tell you and everyone else in my social space why I don't give money, because they treat me like manure. So, and they've treated many people I know like manure, including you, who I think is a good person, and both of us have good hearts, and we want the Orioles to do well, and we've always wanted the Orioles to do well, and I've built my whole career around trying to help them do well, and they don't want me around. Okay, touche. Then I'll sit around and wait for you to die, which is pretty much what I've been doing the last 15 years,
Yeah, look, for me, I mean, the Orioles will always be the first and most and biggest sports love of my life. And when Peter Angelos is gone and all of the people that are gone, and, Cal, did I hear that Cal Ripken turned 55, 56 the other day? And I mean, he was the icon of my childhood, and was playing when I first started working with you. And
now he's AARP.
He's been out of the game for 15 years. I mean, the game goes on. I mean, one day Adam Jones will not be playing, and Manny Machado will be retired, and all of
Matt Wieters will be managing the team.
And when that happens, God willing, the Orioles will still be here, and there will still be additions in technology, and they'll be fighting for the entertainment dollar like everybody else is. Attendance at movies is down because same kind of technology and issues, and the price has gone up, and people say, is it worth it for me? I know I work in an industry where full-time, where we're always trying to figure out how to bring people in when, you can have, beats with the best possible version of music right in your ear, and TV, you want to watch a live concert on DVD or Blu-ray, that you can go out and order it, or you can watch Daryl's House, right? I mean, all these things exist for the entertainment dollar and how people are going to do it. And for a lot of people, it's easier to stay home. So, I mean, sure. I mean, the history of what the Orioles and Peter Angelos have done, it certainly plays a part in it. The weather this year has been horrible. But, in terms of the last week, it certainly matters that the school year got going. I mean, I was saying to someone the other day, I can't even imagine having been in school and them telling me I had to go back to school in August. What? Like, what? I'm sorry, what? No.
There would have been a revolt.
After Labor Day or nothing. So, I mean, just for people at the end of the summer trying to get their lives in order. I don't have kids, but I mean, I have plenty of friends.
And you don't go to the games.
I have plenty of friends and loved ones who do, and I hear the struggle every day about, just trying to keep up with the world and try to keep things going.
I'm familiar with that, man. I'm familiar with that, so I'm with you.
It's different on Sundays. Sunday is usually considered a day of rest, and for everything that's going on Fridays and Saturdays, I mean, the NFL locked up a spectacular market, and on Sundays, and in baseball, it's. I was just thinking to myself, it's amazing what can happen in a baseball season. It gets going basically on Valentine's Day with spring players starting to report. For most teams, it's going to end in October, and if you're lucky, it'll end sometime in the middle to the end of October. And the things that can change in your life between that period of time is mind-boggling. I mean, I could write a book about the last 2 years for myself and the things that have changed in the course of those two full seasons, and just within the period of that 7 months. So, I mean, it's hard to look at people in the way where our time is commanded by other things in this world, and how much what lack of disposable income everybody has. and say, you need to be there on the day that everybody's going back to your kids are going back to school, and et cetera, et cetera. You're trying to get that stuff figured out.
Hey, man, I was scoreboard watching from Germany, so I hear you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I still care. I'm still engaged. I'm just not there, and that's also a big part of the story. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Alan, I'm going to let you go, man. I want to get back onto the field. We'll have some on-the-field discussion beyond Ubaldo as we head into the weekend and take on the Tigers, man. It's great having you on, bud.
I will talk to you again soon now.
You got it. He is Alan McCallum. Alan at WNST.net. The way to reach him, you can find me in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. Don't forget, the WNST Tech Service, that is our best service, brings you breaking news as it happens. Roster releases, Ravens cuts, Forset's on the team, he's off the team, he's on the team again. It's all brought to you by Coons Ford at Security Boulevard. Dennis Kolatzis will be here on Thursday, driving you home and getting you ready for the Broncos and the Panthers as well. I got Springsteen obligations this week. My wife's on the radio program this week. We're doing some Facebook Live and some WNS TV out on our YouTube channel as well. You can always email me, nasty at WNST.net, and out on social media. Big love to everyone who saw our Deutschland pictures and our hero Niels, who at some point I'll have on the program too. His English is great. And we had a lot of fun. Drank a lot of Kolsch, ate a little bit of schnitzel, and certainly promoted the Bone Marrow Registry over in Cologne. If you haven't seen any of the videos, go to our Facebook, our YouTube, our Snapchat. It's all over the place. We are WNST.net AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports. WNSTV YouTube channel. Great to be back from Deutschland, and appreciate all the love for my wife and for our family and our donor, Niels, who was a great host to us over in his homeland of Germany, where we had some fun, saw some rock and roll and even some soccer. But meantime, I was following along in the Orioles and Ravens preseason, as well as the Maryland Terrapins, who were victorious in their debut with DJ Durkin, a 52-13 schlubbing of Howard, and we kind of saw this one coming. Mike Ashley is here from Terrapin Times, one of our defending champions and Terps followers. He was on the scene for the debut of the new, used to be Michigan coach and now the future of Terrapins football. Mike Ashley, how are you, man? A nice start to the campaign, and at least making us feel like, well, at least they're beating those kinds of teams by wide margins.
Yeah, it was a great start, and I wow, this is what I wrote. I wrote, hey, this is the same way Bear Bryant got started in Maryland. He had a 60-6 win in his first game against Guilford back in 1945. Well, it's hard to get too excited on the face of things. You're a 48-point favorite over an overmatched Howard team who, thank heavens, didn't have a long bus ride back home after that butt kicking, but you're
only a 48-point favorite. Only, right? When's the last time Maryland was a larger than 48-point favorite?
Oh, boy. We probably have to go back away.
I thought Vegas would just pull that off the board, but okay. I hear you. 48 points is what?
Yeah.
They didn't cover.
Right. But, hey, it wasn't, I don't want to say it was the way Maryland won, but here's what I love. They didn't have a penalty until the third quarter when about the third stringers were in. They only had 2 penalties total. They didn't turn the ball over. Perry Hills, we've all wondered what he can get done in the passing game. He hit his first 10 passes. Well, they are out there defending, so hitting 10 passes in a row is a very good sign, I'd say. They were all short passes, but we got a little feel for what Walt Bell's offense is going to be like. And I've been talking to these kids since summer camp, and their enthusiasm is contagious. And even an old grizzled vet like me, I got to admit, it's hard to suck me in on these things because you coaching staff, you always hear the same platitudes. But I'm telling you, these kids really believe they are part of something special right now. Those of us who watch the recruiting see what's happening, getting ready for next year. And this is it's time to show up for fans. There's something going on in College Park.
Well, I mean, you talk about Durkin and, in any program, right? So we have an Oriole team here that's in a pennant race again. It's never lost on me, bro, that if the book were ever written by me that the Orioles win a World Series, it's all about Buck, right? I wrote a book about a Ravens championship in 2001. It was all about Billick coming in and changing the culture. Same thing with John Harbaugh. The book begins with John Harbaugh coming in and changing the culture. And, if there is any story of the Phrygian era and their success and, going to that Orange Bowl and, at that point, it really was about leadership. And that's why they brought Durkin in. And, I think as much as the pedigrees on the defensive side, the real story for him is motivating and getting young people that can play the game excited about coming and being a part of him. And he has lured football players to programs. That's his gift, right?
There's no doubt about that. But more than that, he is one of those coaches, I think, that can get the most out of what he's already got there. You saw it, like I said, with Perry Hill, the guy we don't consider a virtuoso passer, hitting his first 10, going 12 for 16, and then I know you didn't get a chance to see the game, but I'm telling you, anybody that saw the freshman, Tyrell Pigram, get in there and what he could do with his feet, he's pretty exciting. He's something special, too. Lorenzo Harrison, the tailback, came in a freshman. I really liked what I saw from him. They got a lot of receivers. That guys playing a little bit better than maybe I thought they would. They're improved in special teams. When I think about team rebuilding, I think you really have to be solid defensively, which is Durkin's whole pedigree, and you need to make some plays in special teams to kind of turn those 50-50 games that you got a chance in, but you might not be able to make a play anywhere but special teams. And Maryland really showed that. They're using a lot of starters out there. The big play on the punt block was Will Likely, not as a return man. He came up to the line and as one of the rushers in block formation. Howard overshifted their blocking a little bit. That opened it up on the backside. The starting tailback Ty Johnson got in there and blocked the punt, and then Trey Farrell picked it up and went in for the touchdown. It was it was a masterful play there on special teams, and I really think that's going to be something that's going to make a difference for the team all year long.
Well, I mean, running the football was something that they went into the game to do, and it's something that they're going to have to do well because they don't have a quarterback that's going to throw for 400 yards. I mean, I certainly not in the Big Ten when they're playing the Ohio States and the Michigan States and all the things that are coming down the pipeline right around Halloween time for them. But they had several guys run the football. Mike, as you see it, who's going to be the guy running the football here when they get to Big Ten play, or is this really sort of preseason open auditioning for that?
Well, they had 6 different guys rush for touchdowns, and none of them were Wes Brown, who's still serving his, suspension for a violation of a team rule. I have thought all preseason that Trey Farrell, with his experience, coming as a senior transfer from Virginia Tech, would be the guy. But Ty Johnson, who's a great combination of speed, power, and a little bit of experience as a true sophomore, was out there starting. It was hard to get a read. Again, I really loved what the Harrison kid brought to the table and just his quickness. And Pigram as a quarterback too. We didn't see a lot of the read option with Hills in there, which is going to be a staple. So I think they were holding some stuff back, and they still ran, for 315 yards. Right now, Ty Johnson seems like the guy, but this is, one thing that Durkin has stressed all along, that every day things can change in practice depending on the effort he sees. So, there's no guarantee Ty Johnson is going to be the starter this week. We'll get a new depth chart soon, and we'll know a little bit more. But right now, they seem to have 3 or 4 guys that they could feel pretty comfortable with back there.
Well, this is an interesting schedule. Mike Ashley joining us here from Terrapin Times, of course, longtime chronicler of all things local college sports. And they're going to go on the road, play FIU this week. We talk about that. Then the UCF game, down in Florida as well the following weekend. So a couple of warm weather trips, and obviously maybe Durkin using some of the recruiting techniques in some of those areas. But the one thing that stood out to me as I looked at the box score, and I checked it out at WNST.net, over in Germany, I'm 6 hours hours ahead, so everything sort of happened in the middle of the night for me over there. And I saw 35,000. I thought, that's not a bad number, and certainly I don't expect – and we sat around here talking about why the Orioles weren't drawing last week, and they're only playing a handful of games. They are playing these Big Ten games. There's some excitement about the Michigans and the other things that are happening around here. But to have that kind of a crowd, there really does feel like there is some buy-in from some of the people who have red sweaters that for whatever reason didn't go to the games the last couple of years.
Well, the student turnout was particularly good, which I thought was very encouraging. And Durkin has already talked about how that makes a difference in your atmosphere, and obviously he's already translating that to recruiting. Overall, 35,000 I thought was a generous estimate. It did look pretty full there as the game got going, but as always, there's a lot of Maryland fans stay in the parking lot a little longer than kickoff there to get themselves ready for the game.
I know about that parking lot, Mike. I've been there. It's enticing, let me tell you what.
Well, you know what I'm saying. And, I don't blame anybody for a game like
I've
this.
loved college girls all my life. There's nothing not to like about the University of Maryland campus, right?
No, it really is. It could be a great atmosphere, and I think it's got a chance. Think about if the Terrapins come off this trip, 3-0, and they're hosting Purdue. I think there's going to be some national attention for a game like that. Then, what if they win that, and then suddenly they're headed up to Penn State for another huge game? So this season really lays out well if they can do what it looks like they might be able to do here the next few weeks.
No doubt about it. And then the big games begin, and the Michigan States and the Michigans and the Ohios are all going to be happening. And seeing them get ready for this and starting to believe in themselves a little bit, the schedule does set up nicely for that. I mean, there is some confidence available here this month. If you're a Terps fan, I think that's all you can expect. I mean, what more do you want than a 52-13 victory to start the season, right?
Right. And they're going down to Florida International. FIU had it put on them pretty good by Indiana, who ran the ball very successfully. So, again, these are things in our business we call trends. And so if Maryland goes down there and runs the ball well, which it looks like they might be able to, make just enough plays in the passing game, bring those special teams, and they're going to have a good chance to be 2-0.
He is Mike Ashley from Terrapin Times. Always a pleasure to check in with you. Mike, I have a specific Terps complaint. Can I vent a little bit here? It's a college football complaint.
All right. Well, no, I can't get you out any parking tickets up there because on campus, that's actually what Fear the Turtle means.
I'm not an athlete. No. I don't expect to get. I don't expect any of that kind of treatment. Nebraska, November 19th. I've got a flight to Dallas because the Ravens play in Dallas on November 20th. I got a flight to Omaha on the 19th because I want to go out. Actually, the 18th. I want to go out there and see that game. At what point are they going to give me a game time for that? What's the over-under? The game is the 19th of November. When am I really going to know whether I'm going to Nebraska for a football game or whether they're going to play that thing at like 7:30 or 8:30 at night, and I won't be able to go to that game?
Yeah, maybe not till the 13th, but sometimes they do announce them earlier, so you've got a shot. But worst case scenario would probably be that Sunday before.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't do much for my social agenda either.
Yeah,
but,
I mean that's one of the things about college football that really. Here's a game like I got a flight and I want to go, and I got to, imagine if I had a wedding or a bar mitzvah or a family engagement of some kind, or like that sort of thing. It is really weird when the games are happening. You don't know. I got Ohio State tickets. When's the game? I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, it's
Nestor, it's not our world.
I know. It isn't. It's television.
Here's a radio and a print guy complaining about TV.
I'm just complaining about my travel schedule because I want to go to Nebraska and see a football game because it's Nebraska, right? What's not to like about that?
Well, right, but I'm just telling you, TV sets the agenda. That's all it's about.
I'm hoping that the Terps are playing for a bowl game and they kick that game off at noon Central, like they should, right?
Well, if you say you love the parking lot, I got to tell you, as a writer, I love the noon games, but as a fan, I don't want breakfast tailgate. I would like a 3:00 kickoff. I think optimal situation to get my game face on, if you know what I mean.
That's going to screw my trip up, Ashley. Don't bring that up anymore.
No, I'm not.
Don't give them any
Nebraska.
ideas in the Big Ten.
Hey, look, I hope you get there in time to husk your corn and everything. So,
Hey, man, it's great having you on. It's good to have you back into the fold here. We'll be watching the Terps every week. They're at FIU. By the way, Friday night game for everybody for the Terps this week. They're playing 7:30 Friday night. No excuses under the bright lights. We will be watching on the CBS Sports Network. Great to have you on, Mike. We'll continue to check in and hope for the best here and hope for a 4-0 matchup against Penn State on October 8th.
Well, good to have you back stateside, Nestor. I look forward to talking with you guys. I think it's going to be a really fun season.
So far, so good. He is Mike Ashley from Terrapin Times, one of our defending champions, coming on talking a little Turtles football here this week. We got the Birds playing on the road all week and headed to Detroit this weekend. Meaningful baseball games. Even Ubaldo Jimenez made us happy on Monday afternoon. And, of course, the Ravens and the Bills. Be talking plenty of NFL this week. You can always find me in the Bahia Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn radio app. We come in crystal clear from anywhere you are. Our morning newspaper hits your email inbox at 7 a.m. every morning. That's brought to you by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. And last but never least, breaking news, and there's been plenty of that with Justin Forsett alone, for crying out loud. I got stirred up at a Billy Joel concert in Frankfurt, Germany Saturday. I said they cut half the team during the scenes from an Italian restaurant. But they will be playing football this weekend. We'll be chronicling all things Bills and Ravens. Got an exciting week here, back from Germany. Met the man who saved my wife's life, and tens of thousands of people commenting on videos. It's been an exciting time. Happy New Year to all Ravens fans. I'm wearing my Ravens cap, my buckled-up shirt. I'm excited. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Taos in Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports. National Football League. Fake football is over. We got the real thing starting on Thursday night, and of course here on Sunday with your Baltimore Ravens hosting Rex Ryan and the Buffalo Bills, the embattled Bills, coming here to start the season. And here to talk all things football, he's one of our defending champions, one of our favorite dudes to have on the program, and you can follow his journey out at SI.com as well as out on Twitter at @ChrisBurke_SI. He is an NFL writer for Sports Illustrated, and even though he's out there where the